Hi there, welcome to QA Box. Let's test. And in this video, we are going to talk about some more jQuery effect methods. I said some more because in the last video, we have already covered one from this list. And yes, that is animate. Now, if you want to stop animation on an element, so you are going to just invoke the stop method on that element, and that is going to stop the currently running animation for the selected element. Now there are a few more in this list and they are slide down, slide up and slide toggle. So slide down, as the name suggests, slides down the selected element. Slide up slides up the selected element, and slide toggle toggles between the slide up and slide down. Then we have fade in, fade out, fade toggle and fade to. So fade in, again as the name suggests, fades in the selected element. Fade out fades out the selected element. Fade toggle toggles between the fade in and fade out methods. And fade to fade in or out the selected elements to a given opacity. Then we have some more methods like hide and show. So hide, as again the name suggests, hides the selected elements, and show shows the selected elements. So now we are going to write code for all these methods. All right, so let's start. So what are we going to do with this? So now you could see that I'll be invoking all those methods when I click on these buttons, and therefore I've created slide up, slide down, slide toggle, fade in, fade out, fade toggle, and mouse enter leave. Okay, so let's start with that. So what I want to do is, so this is let's see the DOM. So we have this container. So this is the container which has got the menu item, all right? And then we have this home, all right? So I want to slide this up when I click on this button. So which means that this would be gone and this would be shifted up, and then when I click on the slide down, it would come down and then you will start seeing this. So how can we do that? So let's first identify this element, right? And let me expand this so they are in here. So this is my slide up. Okay, so this is slide up. So how am I going to find that? I'm going to say dollar, and this is an anchor tag, so I say a dot, and I'm just going to use this particular class. All right, so I have hold on this now, and now on click I want to perform the action, so I'm going to say click. And of course now you know that we have to provide this function, callback function. Great. Now what I want to do is I want to slide this up. All right, so it is going to be, so we are here. All right, and I want to slide this up. All right, so how can I do that? Let's identify this. Okay, and I want to slide this up, let's say. All right, so I will say body, and because there are a lot of divs with class container, so we cannot rely on just div dot container, but this is the direct child of body, so we can say div dot container. All right, so I've got hold of this, and now I want to just do slide up. Yeah, so here's the method. That's it. So done. Let me do the same now for slide down. Okay, and this time we have to grab this button. So let me change this, and this has to be now down. And let us do the same now for toggle. All right, so we have slide toggle. So this is updated, and we got to change it to toggle. Great. Let me save this and let's see. So we are sliding this up, then we are sliding this down, and then we are doing the toggle. So let's see that, right? So that thing is gone, this container is gone, and now slide down, so it appears. Okay, and slide toggle is something like this. All right, so now if you find something in your automation testing and you're working on Cypress, you know what you have to do. So with the help of invoke method in Cypress, right, you first identify an element, and then you say invoke, and then you can pass in slide up, slide down, slide toggle in there. It's that simple. All right, and that's why we are covering all these things, because then there will not be any confusion. And there's another method which creates confusion, and that is your trigger method. And the last video we have seen what is the purpose of trigger method. So trigger method triggers an event on a DOM element. All right, so for example, you move your mouse, you leave your mouse, right? So these are all events. If you have to invoke a method on an object in Cypress, then you have to go for invoke method. What do you want? If you want to have access to a property on an object, then you use the its method in Cypress. So you first identify the element like we are doing in here with the help of cy.get. Once that is done, you say if it's a property, you say its and then go for the property. And I showed you in one of the video in this series the difference between property and attribute. So you can easily now find out what is a property. You can also find out the function on an object. Again, have to find the object and do the dot. Now the thing is, you'll have access to all the functions that are provided by the DOM element, and on top of that, because you're working on jQuery, so you also have access to the jQuery element methods. All right, so I hope now there will not be any confusion when to use trigger and when to use invoke. All right, so now the next in the list is fade in, fade out, and fade toggle. Let's do that as well. So now we are going to fade this in, all right, fade out and fade toggle. Let us work on this. Okay, so how are we going to uh, do this? Let's see that. All right, so I want to hide this container, which is a sibling of this. So herein you have all these buttons. All right, so that is one div, this is another div. So in these fade in, fade out, and fade toggle, we are going to hide this sibling. All right, so fade in and fade out the this particular div. All right, let's write the code for that. So I'm just copied that to save in the time, and let me open these buttons. So we have fade in. Yeah, so here's the button. So let me grab the class for it, fade in. All right, and now we have to find this home. So we are going to say div, and now we don't need this body thing. So we are going to say div id home. All right, so we find this first, and then we are going to find this particular child, because we have to fade this in and out, and therefore it has to be, this is the second div. All right, so then we are going to say div dot container. All right, this will return both. So what do we want? We want the last one. Okay, like that. So now we have access to this, and all we have to do is we have to use the fade in. That's it. So we say fade in. Right, now let's do the same for fade out. Okay, and this time it is going to be let's grab the method from here. So this is our selector class, sorry. So yeah, we have to grab this, and then we are going to say fade out. All right, now last one is fade toggle. So what do we have to do in here? We have to grab this last second last element, which is fade toggle. So just do this, and it's going to be fade toggle. All right, so this is also all right. So the code part is done. Let's start clicking on these buttons. So the element is already there, so therefore we have to start with fade out. So you could see that it's gone now. I say fade in, it's also working, and then fade toggle. All right, so this is working. So let's do the hide and show methods as well. So what are we going to do for those? So let us see on this page. So this is the mouse enter and leave. Okay, so let's do this. All right. So just copy this. Let's work on these elements only. And this time we have to pick this. Okay, so I pick this. Now what do we want to do? Instead of click, let's do it on mouse enter. All right, and this is going to just hide this. Okay, so when the mouse enters on this element, this will disappear, and when the mouse leaves, all right, so then it will appear. So we are going to say show, and we have to change this to mouse leave. All right, okay, now let's test that. So we have mouse enter and mouse leave. So we are going to hide this when we move our mouse over that mouse enter leave button. Okay, and when we leave that button, right, or when my mouse leave that button, this will reappear. All right, so let's see that. Boom, that's gone. So it's hidden, and now it's visible. Gone, visible, gone, visible. All right, great. What else can we do here? Let's see that. Now let's create a cool effect which is very much like warning. So what element should we pick? Let's say we pick this whole home div this time. So we say let's find this element first. So div hash home. All right, so we have access to this. Now let's start chaining, because in jQuery you can also chain things. So we are going to hide this, and in hide and show you can also pass in the time for animation. So I'll say now show, and we can again pass in this, and let's do it few more times to create that warning like effect. All right, let me save this, and now you could see that's the animation, isn't it cool? And we can stop this. All right, and how can we stop the animation on an element? So we just simply say this element dot stop, and that will stop any execution happening at that point of time. All right, so that's about animation effects in jQuery. Thank you so much.